What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is the part 7 of a story where Issei was the grandson of the legendary demon hunter Dante. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Now, let's get into part 7. Hi to residents, nighttime. It's time for you to unseal him. Serena spoke in a serious tone. One-sama, are you certain? Riaz asked. Yes, the training you did with Issei-kun made you and your peerage a lot stronger. It's safe for me to say that you are ready. Serena said, making Riaz nod. Why was he sealed in the first place? Issei asked. I'm pretty sure that you already have a gauge on how powerful he is, but I sealed him because I was far too weak to keep his power in check, making him very dangerous. Riaz explained. Was this your decision, One-sama? Riaz asked. Yes, after watching you fight Kakabiel, I saw more than enough evidence that you are ready. Release the bishop, Riaz. Serena said with a smile. If the great Lucifer-sama orders it, then it shall be done. Riaz replied with an uncharacteristic smirk. Old school building. The orc along with Issei are seen on the lower floor of the old school building. So, they're a bishop like me? Asia asked. Yes, this bishop was allowed to roam the building freely during the night, but refused. Riaz said. So, he's a shut-in? Issei asked. Yes he is, but do know that he makes the most contracts out of all of us. Akeno spoke. By using computers and the internet, he's able to create special contracts for people who don't want to meet us in person. Kiba explained. What is the power that's so dangerous that you had to seal the bishop? Zenobia asked. You'll see. Riaz answered. Riaz stepped ahead of the group and approached a set of double doors that were littered with yellow tape that had "Keep Out" printed on it. She grabbed the lock and focused her demonic energy on it, breaking the seal. Akeno came in to assist Riaz in unsealing the door. Here goes nothing. Riaz opened the door. The group was presented with a dark room that had a very dark interior and no lights at all. The only source of light was the ambient light from opening the door only shined through. The room had a very goth Lolita theme from its furnishing and a coffin-shaped bed with a complete cover. Ooh. A childish voice rang out. It seems that you're doing well. Riaz approached the coffin with Akeno. Akeno removed the cover of the coffin bed. Ara, the seal's gone now, shall we get you out now? Akeno gently asked. No. This place is already perfect for me. I don't want to go outside, I want to avoid people. The mystery bishop spoke. Riaz embraced the bishop. There's nothing to worry about, we're all here and it's time that we take you out. Riaz spoke. Issei approached the group. So, this is the bishop. Oh my, Issei said in shock. Issei saw a petite girl, but his senses dictate that he was a male with platinum blonde hair styled to a bob cut with fringes over his forehead, pinkish violet eyes, and pointy ears. He wears the female uniform of Kuo Academy with black thigh-high socks. You've gotta be kidding me, a cross-dresser and a shut-in. Issei sarcastically remarked. That's right, despite his appearance he is without a doubt a boy with mostly feminine features. I dare say that he's a boy in a girl's body. Kiba chuckled. Tell me, kid, why do you cross-dress? Issei asked. I look cuter when I wear these kinds of clothes. The bishop said with teary eyes. Damn it. Don't act all cutesy. Issei exclaimed. Eek. The bishop screamed as Issei felt a familiar power come from the boy. His power is similar to Quicksilver, maybe even stronger. Issei thought. Please don't be angry at me. The boy screamed. Asper, don't be like that, no one here wants to hurt you. Riaz said. Oh really? What about that man with white hair? Gasper asked. Worry not, he's a good person. Riaz answered in a gentle tone. What's his deal anyway? Issei asked. He possesses a powerful sacred gear. Its power allows the user to stop time at whatever they are looking at or what's in their field of view. Akeno explained. I see, thanks Akeno-san. Issei said. This is Gasper Vladi, my other bishop before Asia-chan. For now, he's a first year here in Kuo Academy and he was a damper before I reincarnated him. He wields a very powerful sacred gear. The evil eye that stops the world, Forbidden Baylor View. Riaz proudly spoke. So, it can stop time completely in its base form? Issei asked with Riaz nodding. Can't wait to see what he can do with a balance breaker. Issei said in excitement. The group went to the club room where Kaneko lugged Gasper along the way with a cardboard box. Gasper, moments after getting inside the club room, nabbed the box from Kaneko and hid in the corner inside the box. Well, he's in there, let's discuss what he is. Riaz spoke. We all know that he's a vampire, but he's also half human, making him a damper. One of his special qualities is the ability to walk in broad daylight, making him a day walker too. However, he also hates the sunlight. Riaz sighed. Issei glanced over at the box. Then why do you even attend the school if you won't attend a single class? He asked. I'm fine being inside this cardboard box. It protects me from the sun and air of the outside world, please let me remain inside this box. Gasper screamed inside the box. Since he's a damper, his thirst for blood isn't as intense as a pure vampire, we supply him with blood every 10 days, but he also hates blood. Riaz awkwardly said. I hate blood, I hate fish and liver too. Gasper again screamed from inside the box. If you're a vampire then why do you hate your main source of energy? Issei asked. I don't like the taste of it. Gasper said. If you hate what you're meant to consume then what sort of vampire are you? Kaneko asked in a monotone voice. No mercy, huh? As expected of Kaneko-chan. Issei thought. The good-for-nothing vampire. You what? Kaneko-chan is a meanie. Gasper said. Which leads me to you, Ice, while I'm gone, I'll leave his training to you and the rest, Akeno will be joining me. Oh, and Kiba, One-sama would like to see your balance breaker. Riaz said. Very well, but you. Kiba answered. Akeno prepared a teleportation circle for the three of them. I'll see you later, Ice. Riaz waved as they disappeared. So, what are we gonna do with you? Issei crossed his arms. Please just leave me alone, I won't be a burden by staying here. Gasper spoke from the box. I can't let you do that, Riaz left you with us, I can't let you be. We're gonna train you and your powers, understand? Issei sternly said. No. I can't control my powers, it's so dangerous. I don't want to see my friends frozen in time again. Gasper said in a panicked tone. That's exactly the reason why I want to train you, you have what is arguably the strongest ability in the peerage you're in, with enough training you can be Ria's ace. Issei spoke trying to convince the bishop. Oh really? How can I be any good? All I do is run off and be scared. Gasper answered weakly. Gasper, all I can say is that the way you see yourself is something you need to change, you think too little of yourself, yet you carry something bigger than what it seems. Issei said. Gasper knew that Issei was right, he knew all his flaws, but did nothing about them, now that Issei is here pointing it out, he gets to choose whether to change all that or stay as he is. Hey alright. I'll train to be better. Gasper finally opened the box and stood up. Good, let's begin. Issei smiled. Let me teach him something. Zenobia pulled out Durandal. Oh boy. Issei deadpanned. Zenobia chased Gasper throughout the old school building's halls, while menacingly holding her sword. Come on now. If you're a day walker, shouldn't you be able to run in the day? Zenobia asked as she got closer to Gasper. Yes, but could you please put that gigantic sword of yours down, Gasper said, fearing for his life. Here, Jaya-kun, your favorite. Kaneko ran with Zenobia while holding a bulb of garlic. No. Not garlic, I absolutely hate those. Gasper ran faster but was running out of breath. Zenobia and Kaneko chased Gasper all the way outside the old school building where Gasper rested under a tree's shade. But run Gasper, remember, a healthy body, healthy mind, is that how the saying goes? Zenobia asked awkwardly. Saji approached the group who has a mini shovel and a pot in his hands. Oh, hey Saji. Issei greeted. Hey there, what are you all doing here? Saji asked. We're training our little Gasper here. Issei pointed at the exhausted vampire. Saji noticed the exhausted Gasper who was oddly breathing erotically. You, a bomb-ass blonde loli in your club, Saji bellowed in excitement. You're sorely mistaken, Saji. He's a crossdresser. Issei shot down the pawn. Saji comically plopped down on his knees with his pot breaking as if it represented how his heart shattered from the revelation. Why? Why is the world so cruel? Saji grabbed Issei's collar. Tell me Haidu. Saji cried out. See, calm down, enough about the crossdresser, how about you? What are you doing here? Issei asked. Aichu ordered me to maintain the flower bed, mainly because of the leaders coming here, and it's also my duty as a member of the student council to maintain the thing. Saji answered, sniffling his sadness away. Issei felt a presence in the bush nearby the group. Everyone, stand back. Issei yelled. The rest complied as Issei took the front line and summoned Severance. The figure slowly came out of the bush revealing Azazel, who was wearing a grey yukata. Oh. It's Azazel. Issei deadpanned and dismissed his sword. Yo, Issei. Azazel greeted. Everyone except Issei was shocked and scared when they saw Azazel. They knew that the leaders of the biblical factions are going to go to their school for the conference, but to see the Governor General of the Fallen Angels was something they did not expect or even thought of. Zenobia had her sword at the ready, realizing how powerful the man in front of Issei was. Asia hid behind Zenobia, and Saji brought out his absorption line. It's alright guys, he's not here to cause trouble. Issei defused the situation. Issei glanced over to Azazel. So, Azazel, what brings you here? Issei asked. I know a good sacred gear when I see it, and that kid's gear is something I'm very keen on researching. Azazel grabbed his chin. No can do Azazel, he's too unstable for it, nor am I going to hand him over. Issei said. I'm not here to take him away, I'm only here to observe, and from what I've seen, he's really bad with his abilities. Azazel remarked, causing Gasper to shudder. Can't really do anything about it, that's why we're training him. Issei sighed. Well, if you're training him, here's a tip, if he has no control over his power, maybe that guy's absorption line can help, or even that shotgun of yours to mitigate some of his power. Azazel said. You're right, why didn't I think of that? Issei grabbed his chin. You've got to consider every possible variable, Issei, it's all there is to it. Azazel said as he walked off. Why did he come here all of a sudden? Zenovia spoke, sealing Durandal back. The man's a sacred gear aficionado, he collects and researches them. Issei answered. So, he's more of a pacifist. It's night and day between him and Kakabiel. Zenovia remarked. That's very true, he's also a good match in video games. Issei chuckled. Alright, Gasper, it's time to use your powers. Issei summoned and aimed Divine Orion at the damper. Please. Don't shoot me. Gasper begged. Don't worry, it won't hurt that much. Issei pulled the trigger. Gasper, in a fit of panic, activated his powers and stopped the buckshot mid-air, surprising Issei, because the others were frozen in time. What? How are you not frozen in time? Gasper asked. I'm probably powerful enough to withstand your powers. Issei speculated. Gasper ran out of steam and disabled his powers. Saji, can you use your sacred gear on him? Issei requested. Sure. Saji prepared his gear. The group changed into their PE clothes and went to the school's gymnasium. Saji used his sacred gear on Gasper and adjusted the amount of power drained on the boy. Gasper, on the other hand, had struggled on pinpointing his powers on the balls being thrown at him and ends up freezing everyone in time, except for Issei. You better stop the ball, Gasper. Issei threw a ball towards Gasper. Gasper nodded and focused his power on the ball, and miraculously, the ball stopped, but only for a moment. Issei was surprised at the damper's progress. Alright, good job, if you can do it longer, then we'll move on to the more targets. Issei said as Gasper gave him a determined look. I'll do my best, Issei-senpai. Gasper readied for another shot. That's the spirit. Issei said excitedly. Alright, here it comes. Issei threw another ball. Gasper, in a sudden burst of confidence, stops the ball for a whole 5 seconds. Holy shit, Gasper, that's a major improvement right there. Issei stared at the boy in shock. Looks like a little pep talk and a push were all he needed. Issei thought. Now we move on to multiple objects. Well, the only things we have here are the volleyballs, so you'll have to bear with it. Issei placed 2 racks beside him. All good, Issei-senpai, I'll give it my best shot. Gasper said. Here we go. Issei threw 3 balls at Gasper. Gasper couldn't stop any of the balls thrown at him, seeing his drop in performance, he immediately felt ashamed and ran off to his room. Damn, he's that fragile? Issei asked. Looks like it, Haidu, it's all on you now, I've gotta go. Saji left the scene. Alright. Issei glanced over to Asia, Zenovia and Kaneko. You 3, go ahead, I'll deal with Gasper alone. Issei followed the damper's trail. Haidu residence. Asia went home with Zenovia and Kaneko in tow, surprising Kalina at the sudden visit. Oh, Asia-chan, who's the blue-haired chick? Kalina asked. I'm Zenovia Quarta, it's a pleasure to meet you, mother of Issei, and I was deeply impressed with your combat prowess in that fight with Kakabiel and his monsters. Zenovia bowed and spoke in admiration. Oh, it's no big deal, and you can call me Kalina. Kalina answered, gesturing the trio to enter. Asia, Zenovia and Kaneko decided to take a bath and talk about a certain dragon. So, Zenovia-san, what do you think of Issei-san? Asia asked. He's most definitely powerful, a freak of nature, as they say, but this time it's to a whole other level. Zenovia answered. And you, Kaneko-chan? Asia asked again. I hated him, mostly because of his perverted nature, but I began to spend more time with him in the club, the more I realized that he's probably the only man who can be the kindest man on earth and the worst. Kaneko answered in her monotone voice. Issei sent to me, I see him as someone who has all the compassion in the world, he knows what is right and what is wrong from many points of view, but I do wish for something. I wish that someday, he'll see me as something more than a damsel in distress he once saved. Asia put a hand on her chest. And what do you have here, ladies? Tiamat barged in, all in her naked glory. And nothing, Tiamat-san, we were just taking a bath. Asia sheepishly answered. I know when you ladies start talking about Issei, and I for one would like to join in. Tiamat chuckled and went into the bath. So, what's this about, Asia? Tiamat asked. It's how we all feel about Issei-san, and I want to know what he feels for me. Asia answered shyly. Well, if you want my take, Issei sees you as someone he needs to protect because, Asia-chan, you are too pure for the likes of us to be around, so in Issei's mind, he wants to keep you as clean as possible, and for you to change that, you need to be more direct or even outright tell him what you feel. Tiamat explained as Kaneko and Zenovia listened. Dia-sensei, what should I do? Zenovia asked. Well, Zenovia, you're a little too direct, but that's good, in a way at least. You're letting him know that you want him. It's just that you three have tons of competition, even his rival is head over heels for him. Tiamat revealed, shocking the three. How do you know of this? Zenovia asked. He may know it already, but I secretly bugged his body with magic when we shared a night together, so I see what he sees and hear what he hears with a flick of my hand. I just pretend to not know, to not spoil his excitement. Tiamat giggled. He's that strong yet he can't detect a spell cast on him. Kaneko deadpanned. Yes, but we may not know if he's playing along with it or he genuinely doesn't know. Tiamat answered, sinking deeper into the bath. Old school building. Issei followed Gasper all the way back to his room and sat in front of the double doors. Gasper, I know you're in there and I won't leave this spot unless you come out this instant. Issei spoke. No, I'm a failure, I can't even control my powers that well. Gasper answered weakly. Gasper, I've told you before, you need to look at yourself differently, think about the good things you accomplished, you didn't stop that ball out of luck, that was genuine progress. Issei said, trying to coax the damper into coming out. Is it really? Gasper opened the door ajar. Yes, believe it or not, I'm probably the only guy who can teach you how to control your powers, because your sacred gear and one of my powers are pretty similar. Issei said, looking into Gasper's eyes. Really? He replied. Yes, watch. Issei snapped his fingers. Issei manipulated his Quicksilver style to not affect Gasper, and everything around them slowed down and looked motionless. Wow, you weren't kidding, it is similar. Gasper said in awe. See? Now that you've seen it, do you want to continue training or not? Issei asked, dispelling the style. Why yes. I'll give it my all. Gasper answered in excitement. Issei and Gasper went out again to train, and the two made steady progress with Gasper's power, making small but significant improvements. Gasper is now able to stop 3 objects due to his power not being leached out, and with Issei teaching him proper control. Issei-senpai, thank you so much. I can finally control my powers, even by a little. Gasper said in the box, but this time the flap is open. No problem at all, seeing my junior grow makes me happy. Issei smiled. Next day, evening. Rias is seen sitting on her chair as Issei stood in front of her carrying a box that contained Gasper. Ice, first of all, thank you for training Gasper in my absence. Rias stood up and pecked Issei on the lips. And that's your reward. Rias winked and sat back down. No biggie. Issei replied. Now, seeing that he's more confident than his past self, I'd like you to accompany him, I have him cover for Kaneko's summon for tonight. Rias requested. Sure, I don't mind, but how do we get there? Issei asked. You teleport, just focus your magic on the flyer here, you should be teleported along with Gasper to the client's house. And please be there to only watch over him, I want him to experience what it's like to be with a client. Alright then, we're off. Issei said as he and Gasper disappeared. Somewhere in Kuo. Issei and Gasper arrived in front of an apartment unit. Issei put down the box where Gasper was in and kicked it slightly. Hey, we're here, you're on your own now. Issei said as he stepped out of the way. Nuu, I don't think I can do this, Issei-senpai, I don't even know what the client will make me do. Gasper squirmed inside the box. You have to do this, Rias put a lot of faith in you, the least you can do is make her proud by making a contract. Issei opened the box and patted Gasper's head. The gesture somehow made Gasper relaxed, but still anxious. Hey, alright, can you please knock on the door for me? Gasper requested. Okay, but once I knock on the door, you do the rest, got it? Issei said and approached the door. Got it? Gasper answered. Here goes. Issei knocked on the door. The door opened and revealed a bespectacled man with a lanky build and black neck-length hair who was wearing a white shirt with an anime print and black shorts. Oh, you must be the devil I summoned, strange, usually Kaneko-chan answers my summons, and what sort of devil knocks on doors? But you fit the build, anyway, come in. The man gestured for Gasper to come in. Gasper got nervous and unconsciously stopped time when Issei felt the power surge and was able to move. Boy, Gasper, I thought you had this. Issei spoke. I don't, I can't even stand up and get out of the box. Gasper tearfully said. Do you want me to drain your powers for now? Issei summoned Divine Orion. Then no, I just want to go back to my room. Gasper covered his head. You can't go back unless you make a contract with him, now go, you're so far in already, might as well finish it. Issei gave one final push for Gasper. Gasper hardened his resolve and gave Issei a determined look. "Alright, I got this," Gasper said, surprising Issei. "Good, now go," Issei said as Gasper's power faded away. Gasper stood up from the box and followed the man inside. "Please excuse my intrusion," he politely said. The man noticed Issei just outside his doorway. "And you, mister? Are you a devil too?" he asked. "Yeah, but I'm only here to watch over him, it's his first time going to a client," Issei answered. "Oh, I see, would you like to come in as well? You certainly look the part and I've got a few outfits I'd like you to try on," the man offered. "Cosplay huh? Sure, why not?" Issei walked up and entered the unit. The trio sat down around a table and introduced themselves. "Alright, since you're both strangers to me, I'll introduce myself. I'm Morisawa, I mainly ask for anime related stuff when summoning a devil from your group," Morisawa spoke. Gasper Vladi, a pleasure to meet you sir, please treat me well," Gasper stuttered. "Issei Haidu, I'm only here as the overseer," Issei said. "Alright, with that out of the way, I only have one question, is that a boy or a girl?" Morisawa pointed at Gasper. "He's a boy who has a really bad habit of cross-dressing," Issei deadpanned. "I see, whatever sorcery it is you devils use, I want it because he looks superb as a girl," Morisawa said. "No magic was involved, he legit looks this way," Issei answered for Gasper who was still curled up inside the box. "It is strange though, why is he in the box?" Morisawa asked again. "He's a complete shut-in," Issei answered. "I see. Well, no going around that, so for my request, I'd like you two to dress up with these." Morisawa pulled out various cosplay items. "Alright, Gasper, you're up." Issei lifted Gasper out of the box, much to Morisawa's amusement. Morisawa had Gasper dress in goth Lolita-themed clothes that fit him quite well, much to his delight, and had Gasper pose for a photoshoot, which startled the damper, but got through it with relative ease. Issei on the other had been requested to wear a butler and warrior outfit that of course suited him like it was made for him, and was asked by Morisawa to pose for a photoshoot to which he complied, despite not being the one who needs a contract. "Alright, that should be it, gosh you two look fabulous, and that sword of yours Haidu-san, was awesome. How can I pay the two of you?" Morisawa asked. "Why, you can pay us with anything, even making a contract will do," Gasper spoke. "Alright, I'll make a contract with you." Morisawa agreed to the offer. Morisawa made a contract with Gasper, but was left wanting something from Issei. The two were about to leave when Morisawa called out Issei. "Haidu-san," he spoke. "Yeah?" Issei replied. "How can I summon you? You don't seem to have these flyers like Gasper-kun here," Morisawa asked. "I have made flyers, I'm pretty new to making them, and we're undermanned with only 3 counting me," Issei answered. "Is there a way you can give me one? I'd like to ask for your services too for specific needs," Morisawa said. Gasper looked at Issei with starry eyes, feeling happy that his senpai was about to get his first client soon. Here, this is our flyer, though it may not be me who'll come through," Issei said as he gave the flyer to Morisawa. "Could you give me an idea of who might come?" he asked. "One is a hot lady with light blue hair, looks like one of those MILFs in the doujins you have, and one is a well-endowed blonde magician who wears a witch hat, but we're still an expanding group," Issei answered. "Alright, I look forward to meeting them," Morisawa said as Issei and Gasper left his home. "See? That wasn't so bad," Issei spoke. "Why yeah, it was all thanks to you, Issei-senpai, if you hadn't been with me, I might have chickened out and ran off," Gasper said sheepishly. "Well, I was only here to watch over you, but hey, you did well," Issei smiled. The two teleported back into the club room where a skeptical Rias was waiting for their arrival. "We're back," Issei announced. "So, how did it go?" Rias asked. "It went surprisingly well," Issei answered. "Tell me about it," Rias asked as she patted Gasper's head. "He finally grew a pair and had a great time with the client," Issei explained. "Oh, Gasper, I'm so proud of you." Rias embraced the damper. "Why yeah, thank you, Rias Butchu," Gasper smiled. Rias let go of Gasper and walked up to Issei. "And thank you for training him so well, Ice." Rias pecked Issei on the lips. "I was expecting more than just a kiss," Issei smirked. Rias draped her arms over Issei. "Oh, you'll get a proper reward alright." Rias said, closing in for another kiss. Issei dodged when their lips were about to touch, leaving a very confused Rias staring at him with a pouted face. "You kinda forgot that Gasper is still with us," Issei said, amused, pointing at Gasper who covered his eyes with his hands. Oh, sorry about that Gasper, you may return to your room," Rias awkwardly said as Gasper complied. "Yes, you'll have to save that for later." Issei winked and walked off. "Where are you going, Ice?" Rias asked. "To my junior of course." I want to talk with him for a while, he's grown so fast in a short amount of time, so I need to encourage him more to go past his limits. Issei smiled. You're right, thank you again, Ice, even though you're not required to do this, you still did, thank you, truly. Rias said. It's no problem at all, Rias, I like training him. Issei said as he walked out of the room. Issei went in front of Gasper's room where he knocked to get the damper's attention. Why yes, who's there? Gasper said. It's me, Issei. Issei opened the door. Oh, Issei-senpai, what brings you here? Gasper asked getting up from his coffin bed. Well, I came here to talk with you. Issei sat down on the floor. About what? Gasper said in an anxious tone. About you, I just want to say that I'm proud of you. Issei said with a smile. Oh really, why though? I barely did any improvements or control over my power. Gasper said covering his head. But you did, look, Gasper, when it comes to becoming powerful, it takes time and dedication. Yes, some are born with immense power from the start, but how can they use it so easily? Issei asked. With training. Gasper answered, surprising Issei. Correct, I'm liking it so far. Issei said. What's the point of this talk, Issei-senpai? Gasper asked. I'm talking to you because Rias is happy for you, I'm sure the others will be too, and I'm also here because soon enough, we'll take your training to another level. I'll train you to be Ria's ace, her trump card when the going gets rough, but to do that, you need to dedicate yourself. Are you going to? Issei asked. Gasper's mind was telling him to say no, but something in him said to go with it. Yes. Please train me to be Rias Butchu's strongest piece. Gasper said with a determined face. Good, we'll start after the peace conference. And I get a feeling it won't go well. Issei chuckled. Kiba walked in on the two. Looks like you two are getting along well. Kiba spoke, getting Issei and Gasper's attention. We sure are, this little shit's getting stronger by the minute. Issei proudly said, ruffling Gasper's head. That's good to hear, so Gasper-kun, how was your training with Issei-kun? Kiba asked. It was a rough start at first, but Issei-senpai pushed me, and here I am having a little bit of control over my powers. Gasper shyly answered. Kiba noted that Gasper wasn't in his cardboard box and was astonished at what Issei did in 2 days. Zenovia, Asia, and Kaneko all went in, surprising the 3 boys in the room. Yo, what it do? Kaneko spoke, amusing the 3 males. What brings you 3 here? Issei asked. Zenovia stepped forward. Whilst being in your home Ice, I've come up with a plan to reduce Gasper's fear of the outside world. Zenovia pulled out a paper bag with 2 holes. Ta-da! She proudly said. This idea was Asia's and we agreed that this would be the best solution for Gasper. Zenovia added. I'm not good at conversing with other people. So, I figured that covering Gasper-kun's face would do the trick since it'll lessen the pressure on him. Asia shyly said. Thank you, Zenovia-senpai and Asia-senpai, but I think I've grown out of my shell, though I still fear the outside world. Issei-senpai made it a little easier for me to tolerate it. It may take longer, but it's something I will work hard on. Gasper answered. Finally, you grew some balls, about time. Kaneko said with an uncharacteristic smile. Very well, I'm glad that you've grown. Zenovia said with a smile. Next day. Issei was contacted by Akeno to come to the shrine after school. Rias also said to him that she'll be following up soon after her work was done. Issei was walking to the destination and stopped when he saw the flight of stairs leading to it. I wonder what's in this place. Issei said, running up the stairs. Issei was greeted by Akeno, who was wearing a priestess outfit, captivating his eyes. Welcome, Ice-kun. Akeno greeted. Thanks, so what's all the fuss about? Issei asked. First of all, I'm sorry for calling you on short notice. Akeno bowed. Oh, it's no problem. Also, Ria said she'll be coming here too. I'm guessing Lucifer-sama called her in. Issei said. Yes, she was. Anyway, let's go. Akeno gestured for Issei to follow her. The two walked along the path leading to a small house deep inside the shrine, where Akeno situated Issei in her home's living room. Say, Akeno, do you live here? Issei asked as he sat down on the floor. Yes, I do, the last priest died, so this place had no one living in it. After that, I requested Rias to secure this place for me. Akeno answered. I see, everything looks so traditional, I like it. Issei said as another voice was heard. So, this is the Sekiryuite. A gentle male voice spoke as bright golden light flashed, revealing an angelic figure. Nice to meet you, Issei Sparta Haidu, I am Michael. Leader of the angels. Judging from your aura, it is most certainly Dragon Spartus. Michael said, shocking Issei at his sudden appearance. Michael is a gorgeous man with long blonde hair and green droopy eyes. He has 12 wings sprouting from his back, but unlike other angels, his wings are gold, further emphasizing his role as their leader. He is dressed in a scarlet robe with a gold cross on his white alb. He is adorned with golden shoulder plates, a white ribbon, and a golden halo over his head. It's an honor to meet one of the seraphim. Issei stood up and respectfully bowed. Michael had a slightly surprised expression from Issei's humility. Fascinating, you're well-mannered despite being Sparta's descendant, this is a nice change for once. Michael said with a gentle smile. Thank you, Michael-sama, but what are you doing here? Issei asked. I'm here to give you a gift. Michael said, summoning a sword. This is Ascalon, a dragon-slaying blade, I hope that it serves you well in your upcoming battles. Michael said, hovering the sword towards Issei. Issei grabbed the sword and was not fazed by it despite being a dragon-slaying weapon. Feels good, but Michael-sama, why give it to me? Issei asked with a confused face. Think of it as a thank you gift, your grandfather Sparta may not know us, but he and his sons helped us indirectly, now I'm just here to return the favor through you. Plus, the meeting between the three great powers is coming, so see this as our peace offering and our willingness to cooperate. Michael explained. I see, thank you, Michael-sama, one more thing. Issei said. I'm sorry, but that is all the time I have, I will have to hear your request after the conference, but do let me heed you with a warning, another force may attack the meeting. Farewell. Michael disappeared in a flash. Dreg. Issei called out. Partner. Dreg answered. How come I can hold Ascalon, I should be taking damage from it right? Being a half-dragon and all. Issei said in a confused tone. Can't really say for sure apart from your immunity to holy things. Dreg answered, earning a nod from Issei. I'll get something to drink. Akeno stood up. Sure. Issei said. A few minutes passed and Akeno came back with a teapot and 2 cups. Akeno poured one for Issei and her. Here you go, I hope you like it. Akeno smiled. Issei took a sip and was thoroughly impressed with the tea. It's great, I won't lie, the atmosphere in your place make this a lot better. He spoke. Thank you, Ice-kun. Akeno smiled. Akeno, did you work with Michael-sama? Issei asked. Yes, I did, and the ceremony was done here in order for the sword to not damage you in any way. Akeno answered. That explains why I could hold it. Issei took a sip of his tea. One more question, Akeno. Issei said in a serious tone. Akeno had a feeling about what Issei was going to ask. Go ahead. She spoke. You're half-fallen angel, aren't you? Issei asked. Akeno had a gloomy expression on her face as what she feared came into fruition. Yes, I am. I'm the daughter of one of the fallen angels' leaders, Barakiel, and a human mother. Akeno answered. My mother was the daughter of a certain shrine, she found an unconscious fallen angel from his wounds, that being Barakiel, she treated him back to health, and from that day they fell in love with each other, and they had me. Akeno sighed. Akeno partially stripped her top and turned her back towards Issei, unfurling her 2 very different wings, a leathery devil wing on the left and the feathery jet black wing of a fallen angel on her right. These dirty wings of mine, a devil's and a fallen angel's, I possess them both. Akeno spoke in a shameful tone. I met Rias, but then these came out after being reincarnated as a devil, I thought that it would be gone, but no, it's still here, being a constant reminder of how much of a disgusting creature I am. Akeno scorned. So, Ice-kun, how do you feel after hearing that? You hate the fallen, right? They helped in killing Asia-chan. You can't possibly have good thoughts about me, now that you know this. Akeno looked away. Yes. I hate them. But I like you, Akeno. Issei said as Akeno's expression brightened by a bit. I'm sorry for asking you about this, it was insensitive of me to do so. Issei bowed. It's fine, Ice-kun, but can you forgive me? I may be a devil now, but I still have the blood of a fallen angel flowing through me, and that won't change. I didn't want to tell you, because your opinion about me would change, and I didn't want that to happen. Akeno said in a sad tone. Issei unfurled his own wings and gave of a gentle glow. See? We're both halflings of something. Akeno, you shouldn't hold yourself back with things like these, I know that I may be stepping out of line, but someone has to tell you at some point. I know it's painful to accept, but the faster you do, the easier things will move forward for you. Issei slowly approached Akeno. Why, you're right. But I just can't bring myself to face him. Akeno struggled to speak as tears welled up in her eyes. Issei embraced Akeno. Akeno, fallen angel or not, you're still the Akeno-senpai we love, you're way different than them, you're our vice president of the club, and you always look after your juniors, and in my pride as a dragon, I never, ever had a single bad thought about you, I can't possibly hate someone like you, and in your toughest times, I will always be there for you. Issei said and patted Akeno on the head. It's so warm, I wish we'd stay like this forever. Akeno thought as she melted deeper into Issei's embrace. Akeno had tears rolling down her face and made Issei concerned, but almost instantly wiped them away as a huge smile crept up on her face. You're quite bold for saying all of that, Ice-kun, I may have to get serious about you. Akeno said and lunged at Issei, pinning him to the floor and straddling him. Hey Akeno, Issei said in shock. Akeno got close to Issei's ear, so close that he could feel her breath. I've decided. Ice-kun, do you love Rias? Akeno whispered. Why yes, I love her. Issei answered. That's a given, considering that Rias is serious about you as well, she's practically the legal wife. Oh, Sona is in the second slot, isn't she? Guess I'll take third. But Nuo, you already got laid with Tiamat. Akeno said, licking Issei's ear. Rias opened the sliding door, surprising the two. That should be enough. Rias crossed her arms. Oh, here he is. Issei greeted awkwardly. Rias stomped her way into the scene and pinched Issei on the cheek, pulling him over to her side. What about the sword? She asked. G got it. Issei answered. Michael? Rias added. He already left. Issei answered. Then there's nothing left to do, we're going home. Rias sternly said. Just a moment Rias, can't we share him? He already has a lot of girls including your best friend and I'm very jealous of you being number one. Akeno said, licking her 2 fingers. I don't know Akeno, can we? Rias retorted. Akeno clung onto Issei's arm. I'm sure we can, besides, from what you and Sona experienced with him, he's got a lot in the tank. Akeno seductively said while tracing Issei's upper body. Whatever. He's still mine. Rias grabbed Issei's hand and walked off. Yufufufu, we're definitely sharing him. Akeno said to herself. Grigori. Oz, do I really have to attend the conference? Vali asked, who sat next to Lavinia. Of course, you're the hacker Yuku after all. Azazel answered. Hey, are there really no more wars? Vali asked in a somber tone. If you want to pick a fight, only your rival can give a good fight, well if he even holds back against you. Azazel said. It's just so boring now, a world without wars, God. But he did make things more interesting. Vali said with a half smile. Lavinia smiled at Vali's last remark. That's it, Vali-chan, embrace your feelings for him, I'll be there anyway, since he needs his peerage to be with him, so you won't be alone. Lavinia patted Vali's shoulder. Shut it, I'll think of something that'll get his attention. Vali grabbed her chin. Next morning, Orc Building. Issei, Asia, and Gasper are seen behind the Orc Building, where Issei was training a very exhausted Gasper. Alright Gasper, you've got to stop 100 more before the first period starts. Issei spoke, preparing to throw a ball. Do your best, Gasper-kun. Asia cheered. Yes. I'll give it my all. Gasper said with a determined face. Issei threw a barrage of balls at Gasper, the latter managing to stop 60 of the 100 balls that Issei threw at him. A completely worn out Gasper laid on the grass. Good job, it may not be 100, but hey, that's more than I expected of you. Issei reached for a bottle of water towards Gasper. Thank you, Issei-senpai, only you could have pushed me this far. Gasper said in between sips of his water. Well, prepare for more training, because we've got to get you in tip-top shape for Rias, you are after all her future ace. Issei smiled. Time skip, evening. Issei, his peerage and all the Orc members are seen sitting around discussing what they'll do at the meeting, and Issei introduces his newest rook. Everyone, this is Lavinia Rinai, a magician and my newest rook. Issei proudly spoke, presenting Lavinia to everyone. Good evening, everyone, as Issei said, I'm his newest rook, it's a pleasure to meet all of you, I hope we get along well. Lavinia gracefully said. The others in the room introduced themselves to Lavinia apart from Tiamat. Kaneko noted that she's extremely powerful and is hiding said power very well. Rias and Akeno sported pouts due to Issei having another woman, even though they were fully aware about her presence in Issei's peerage. Gasper and Kiba on the other hand were polite towards Lavinia. Issei was surprised at Gasper's development, being able to converse that casually, but he thought that it was just because of her being in his peerage that he was able to hold his own. Asia immediately saw a big sister figure in Lavinia and wanted to know more about her. Right, it's nearly time everyone, any plans on doing anything before the conference? Rias spoke. I've got a few preparations to do with Lavinia here. Issei answered, remembering Michael's warning. And what would that be, Ice? Lavinia asked, confused at the sudden request from Issei. Can you set up some sort of defense here in the room? Since we're leaving Gasper and Kaneko her alone. Issei asked. Oh, how about I clone both of them, I just need a piece of their hair so I can recreate their power signatures and then we can take them with us in the conference. Lavinia suggested. Sounds good, Kaneko-chan, Gasper, give her some of your hair. Issei said. The two complied and Lavinia made a one-to-one and fully autonomous ice clone of Gasper and Kaneko, with their power signatures being close to the originals. Lavinia walked up to the two. Here, I'm gonna cast a concealment spell on you two. Lavinia casted the spell. And that should do it. Lavinia finished the spell. Alright, let's go everyone. Riaz said as everyone in the room exited. Conference meeting room. Issei, Riaz and Sona along with their peerages are seen just outside the meeting room where the three kings took the front. Riaz knocked on the door to be answered by Serena. Enter. Serena's voice was heard. Riaz opened the door to a fancy-looking room with a round table where the leaders of the three major powers sat around. Issei immediately noticed Azazel, who smirked at him and was accompanied by Vali, who intensely glared at Issei. Michael, who was accompanied by Irina Shidu, surprising Zenobia, and Serena, who had Grafia behind her. Excuse our intrusion. Riaz bowed. Ah, my sister, Sona Sitri and the Red Dragon Emperor, welcome. Serena gracefully spoke as Issei and Sona bowed as well. I've seen the report and read it thoroughly, you have my thanks. Serena said, arranging a folder. Sorry about Kakabiel, I knew the guy was onto some shady stuff, but I turned a blind eye to it. Azazel casually spoke, causing a few irritated looks from the various attendees because of his brazen attitude. Now that everyone's here, let's get to the elephant in the room, the very reason why we're all sitting around here for, God's death, along with the four original devils. Michael said. It was the most kept secret between the three powers, but in the end, it only takes one for it all to fall apart. But we can't continue going down this path of destruction. Serena answered with Michael and Azazel nodding in agreement. Well, there wasn't anything important after that, no need to make a big fuss over it. Azazel said, further annoying the leaders. Akeno noticed that Riaz was holding onto Issei's hand, the latter firmly holding her hand. Ara, Riaz is being bold today. Akeno said to herself. Riaz drew a deep breath and stepped forward. Riaz Gremory. Could you tell us about the incident a few days ago? Serena requested. As you wish, Lucifer Sama. Riaz answered. Riaz explained what happened. For the most part, Issei and Sona soon joined in, per the request of Serena, wanting to know what the other kings did and saw. Various attendees had mixed reactions towards the report, further increasing the tension in the room. That concludes the report on the events that I, Riaz Gremory, along with Issei Spartahaidu and Sona Sitri and our peerages have witnessed and gone through on that day. I, Sona Sitri, back up Riaz Gremory's testimony and have confirmed them to be all true. Sona spoke. Whatever Sona just said, but replace my name with hers, but do know that I acquired Lavinia Rinai, my newest rook after the incident. Issei said, amusing Serena and Serafal, but earning glares from Riaz and Sona. Thanks a lot, Riaz-chan. Serafal said in her cutesy voice and winked at the three kings. After that report, I'd like to hear what the Governor General of the Fallen Angels has to say. Serena said, glancing at Azazel with the other leaders following. Concerning the event a few days ago, Kakabiel, a leader of our core organization in the Grigori, acted independently and stayed silent to the other leaders as well as to me, and the Sekiryuite dispatched him with the intervention of the Hacker Yuiku. Following that, his sentence was carried out by the organization's laws. In Cocytus, his punishment is to be perpetually frozen. He is no longer able to come out. Everything was written in the document that was provided to you, is that correct? Azazel summarized and grabbed his chin. Michael sighed in disappointment after Azazel's last remark. It was going well for the first half, but he was very wrong for assuming that it'll stay that way for long. As for the explanation, it falls into the worst category, but I am aware of your personal reasons for not wanting anything major to happen against us. Is that correct? Michael asked. I am not interested in wars. Do you have the report for when Kakabiel also made derogatory remarks about me? Azazel retorted. Azazel, I have a question for you. Why have you been gathering sacred gear users for decades? At first, I assumed you were gathering humans to boost your fighting power. I even expected you to wage war against Heavenaros, yet you never did, how come? Serena asked. Yes, despite the progression of time, you did not fight a war against us. I was filled with dread when I learned you had taken the Vanishing Dragon. Michael followed up. It's for sacred gear research. If you fear that I'll use the Vanishing Dragon against any of you, well don't. Besides, Vali and her team are completely independent of my command. If you want, I can also provide you with any of the research materials I've gathered. Even if I did conduct research, I would not declare war on you or anything. As far as I'm concerned, I have no desire to go to battle. Right now, I am completely satisfied with the world. I even told my subordinates to not dabble around with humans. I have no intention of interfering with religion or affecting the devil's or the angels' business. Is it me or is my trust in the three factions the lowest it's ever been? Azazel deadpanned. Yes. That's it. You said it. Michael, Serena, and Serafal answered. DCH, I assumed you were better than God or Lucifer from the previous age, but you guys are troublemakers yourselves. You don't like doing your own thing in secret, do you? I get what you mean. Let us then make peace then. Wasn't that originally your intention? Azazel suggested. Yes, I intended to propose peace to the devils and Grigori as well. Even if we maintain the three factions' relationship as it is currently, it will be detrimental to the world. Since the initial cause of the war, God and the Mao, have been annihilated. I, the leader of the angels, declare peace. Michael said. Azazel burst out laughing. Michael had finally begun to speak up. Even though he was previously obsessed with God. This God that. Azazel said in a mocking tone. I've lost a lot of things. However, looking for things that aren't there is pointless. It is our responsibility to guide humanity. We, the Seraphs, agree that the most essential thing is to continue to watch over and guide God's children. Michael said in a somber tone. Hey, with your speech just now, you'll fall, you know. I assumed so, but you did take over the system. The world has improved. It's nothing like what happened when we fell. Azazel said, amused. We are of the same goal. Even if the Mao aren't present, we devils have advanced in order to preserve our kind. We too do not desire war. The devils will be destroyed if we go to battle. Serena admitted. Yes. If we launch another battle, the three factions will undoubtedly annihilate each other. Then the human world will be affected and the planet will cease. We can't fight wars anymore. Michael spoke, agreeing with Serena's verdict. Even so, we can all agree that the world moves forward, even without God in it. Azazel said, making everyone in the room realize that he was correct. Now that we're talking about the original intentions of each faction, why don't we hear from the two beings that can change the course of history, starting with you, Sekirute Dono. Azazel pointed at Issei with a sly smile. Issei was surprised at first. Before I get there, Michael-sama, may I ask something from you? Issei said. You may. Michael nodded. Why was Asia exiled? Issei asked in a serious tone. All I can do is apologize. After God died, the only thing that was left was the system that governed divine protection, mercy, and miracles. This system is, to put it simply, the system is for performing miracles and the like. God created the system and utilized it to perform miracles from above. The system also has the ability to produce the effects of holy objects, such as exorcisms and crosses. Michael answered. In other words, when God died, there was trouble in the system, is that it? Issei said, earning a nod from Michael. To be honest, everyone who utilizes it, with the exception of God, pays a high price. Every one of the Seraph was able to start up a system with me as the center, but in comparison to the period when God existed, divine protection and mercy to people who believe in God is not to its full extent. It's awful, but the number of people who can be saved is limited. Michael explained. To that end, anybody associated with the church who may have an impact on the system had to be kept at bay. A component of the sacred gears, such as Asia Argento's Twilight Healing, is an example of someone who may influence the system. Gear boosted gear, as well as divine dividing too. Michael added. Was Asia included because she could heal devils and fallen angels as well? Issei asked, with Michael nodding again. Yes. If there is someone who can heal devils and fallen angels among her followers, her faith will be influenced by those around her. The faith of believers is the source of our existence in heaven. As a result, Twilight Healing is a forbidden sacred gear that can have an effect on the system. Furthermore, as an example of influencing the system, Michael was cut off. It's the people who knew about God's absence, right? Zenobia spoke. Yes, Zenobia. Losing you is a major blow even for us. Aside from a seraph and a portion of the higher-ranked angels, a significant number of individuals who are aware of God's non-existence reached a point with a direct connection, and because of that, the system suffers greatly. I apologize once again. There was no other option except to label you and Asia Argento as heretics. Michael said, slightly bowing his head to the church duo. Please don't apologize, Michael-sama. Even yet, I was raised by the church until I reached this age. I thought that it was a little irrational, but if you know why, then there's no need to dig deeper into it. Zenobia said, slightly bowing at Michael. The very act of you being reincarnated as a devil is our sin. Michael said in a somber tone. So, you didn't betray us. Irina softly said, earning a nod from Zenobia. It's alright. I regretted it a little, but the things I couldn't accomplish while serving the church, the things that were sealed from me, have now beautifully colored my life now. Even if I anger the other believers by saying these things, I am content with my current situation. Zenobia said with a smile. Asia stepped forward. I too am content, Michael-sama. Because I now have a lot of important people. Also, I've met and spoken with you, Michael-sama, whom I respect, so it's an honor. Asia said with passion in her voice. I am grateful for your forgiving hearts. I leave Durandal to you, Zenobia. Since it is in the hands of Serena's sister, I am confident that it will not be used for the wrong purpose. Michael said, with Serena giving the angel a sincere smile from the Seraph's display of trust. Azazel had a glance at Asia, the latter feeling uneasy. I am correct to assume that my subordinates had a hand in killing you. Azazel grabbed his chin. Yes, and that bastard freed Selzen straight up did it. I'm such an idiot for not killing the guy the first time I saw him. Issei snarled, releasing a portion of his power. Everyone in the room felt the urge to get away from Issei, Michael especially, and the others who went through the Great War. After experiencing firsthand what the Welsh Dragon and Vanishing Dragon were capable of, they feared that a third dragon of their caliber will surely bring doom to them if they crossed the line. Bali, out of all the people in the room, was the only one who wanted to see more of Issei's capabilities. How she'll do that is up to her to decide, but it will come at a cost. Bali, are you sure about this? Albion asked Vali in her head. I don't know, a part of me wants him and the other wants to fight him. Vali hesitantly replied. Whatever your choice is, all I can do is support you since I'm sealed in you. Albion said. Screw it, I'm taking my shot. Vali steeled her resolve. Alright then, you're on your own now, what comes next, we can only see after your shot has been taken. Albion said, cutting the link. Briaz gathered the courage to hold Issei's hand and managed to calm him down. It's gonna be alright. She whispered as Issei's power simmered down. So, Sekiryuite Dono, what's your verdict? Azazel asked. Issei stepped out of the group. I'm fine with having peace, as long as no one under my watch gets hurt, then everything should be fine. Issei answered. Akiryuiku, what do you think? Azazel glanced over to Vali. I just want to fight strong guys, but… Vali started to walk. But… Azazel said in confusion as he watched Vali pace towards Issei. Vali made her way to Issei, who had an equally confused face as Azazel's, wondering what his rival could possibly be planning. What is it this time? Issei was cut off. Vali grabbed Issei's collar and forced her lips into his, draping her arms on Issei's neck, not letting him go. Vali took the initiative by sliding her tongue into Issei's mouth, the latter fighting back and dominating the kiss shortly. The leaders were shocked, to say the least, by the Hakuryuiku making out with the Sekiryuite. Serena especially was a bit envious at the scene in front of her. Azazel of all people had a wide open mouth at the scene. Michael went wide-eyed at the sight before him, while Serafel playfully covered her face. Briaz and Sona could only sigh, as they have another girl to deal with in Issei's harem. Akeno pouted, Zenobia covered Asia's eyes while she watched intently and took mental notes. Irina watched, but soon covered her eyes from embarrassment. Tiamat could only smile, knowing that she's gonna have fun with a trio of dragons. Vali broke out of the makeout session after a significant amount of time. But it'll be boring without this guy. Vali said in between breaths. What the hell was that for? A shocked Issei exclaimed. For someone who's got tons of girls, you're pretty dense. Can't you see that I'm submitting to you? In other words, make me yours. Vali yelled, earning gasps from the attendees. So? You want me to make you a part of my peerage? Issei asked. Yes, even better. Now do it. Vali excitedly said. Azazel. Issei looked at Azazel. She's yours, I have no control over her anyway. Azazel shrugged. Finally, took you long enough. Azazel thought, amused seeing his adoptive daughter finally accept her feelings for Issei, despite the rather particular circumstances they were formed. Alright then. Issei hesitantly said and pulled out a queen piece. Issei pushed the piece against Vali's chest. In the name of Issei Sparta, I command thee, Vali, to become my queen and second in command. Issei chanted as the piece was absorbed by Vali. The piece began to glow brighter than the previous reincarnation rituals that Issei performed. What's happening? Vali asked, noticing the brightness of the piece. The piece is mutating. Serena answered. How so? Issei asked. When you reincarnate someone into a devil, and that being is very powerful, chances are that the piece can mutate to suit the powers of that person. Serena explained, earning a nod from Issei. Interesting. Azazel remarked and grabbed his chin. Vali felt her power surge from absorbing the queen piece and felt a bit of her king's power inside her as well. So? Issei said. Finally, I can fight you whenever I want. Vali nuzzled her head into Issei's chest all lovey-dovey, not realizing that all eyes were on her. You do realize that we're in the middle of a meeting, right? Issei deadpanned. Vali broke out of her trance. She walked back to her original position. Issei. Lavinia spoke. Yeah? He asked. Haboom. We've got company. Lavinia said as an explosion was heard. From the old school building. Haha. The decoys worked, good job Lavinia. Issei laughed out loud. Decoys? Serena asked in a confused tone. Oh, before we left to go here, I had Lavinia set up clones of Kaneko and Gasper in the old school building. I realized that in Gasper's vulnerable stage, and his power, he'd be a high-value target. And with the three great powers in one place, it's a prime scenario for an attack. Issei explained as Kaneko and Gasper appeared beside Riaz and Akeno. Not bad kid, not bad at all. Azazel complimented Issei on his preparedness. Well, looks like our guests are here, and they do not look friendly. Azazel said as numerous magic circles appeared outside the building that they were in. Individuals clad in black cloaks appeared in the thousands as they fire a barrage towards the meeting place. The leaders countered by casting a barrier around, leaving the building in ruins, but no damage on themselves and the others. So, they're magicians. Lavinia, you're like the Morantia. Got anything on them? Issei asked. They cast dark magic, not that bad in small numbers, but with this many, it's trouble. Lavinia answered. I see, so who's going first? Issei asked. I will. Volley stepped up. You sure? Issei said. Yes. Volley answered. How about no, King's orders after all? Issei had an evil smile on his face. You little shit. Volley threw a punch, but Issei caught it effortlessly. Could you two stop bickering and take out some of the enemies? We're losing good men out there. Azazel deadpanned as troops from the three factions started falling by the bunches. Fine, go crazy. Issei let go of Volley's fist, the latter stepping out of the barrier, activated her balance breaker and went to work. So, what's the plan? Issei asked. Well, seeing that all the leaders are here, the attack is most likely done to kill one or all of us in one go, but they're sending in cannon fodder, so I'm pretty sure they're here to drain our stamina before the big hitters arrive. Azazel speculated. Looks like it. Ooh, there's more going in. Issei said, materializing Severance. Are you going in, Issei? Tiamat asked. Of course I am, you don't get to wipe out armies like this every day. Issei said, amused, and deployed his wings and took flight to a higher place. Might as well join him. You coming, Lavinia? Tiamat asked her sister Rook. Why not? I haven't used my powers in a while. Lavinia shrugged and followed Tiamat. Tiamat flew up and Lavinia casually walked out of the barrier. This should be good to watch. Azazel said with a smirk. The Sparta peerage in action, though undermanned, all of them are extremely powerful, even I can't hold my excitement. Serena said. That sword of his. It has all three of Sparta's blades' powers. Michael remarked. That's because it does have all three of his blades in it. Kalina popped out of nowhere, surprising everyone in the barrier with her sudden appearance. Hey Kalina-san, a spooked Riaz exclaimed. Hey Riaz, Serena. Kalina gave a casual nod to both. Serena had a breath of relief escape her mouth. Kalina, could you please tell us why you're here? Serena sighed. Well, I felt the sudden rise of Issei's power, and I just had to make my way here. Kalina answered. Could you please elaborate on the Red Dragon Emperor's sword? Michael added. Alright then. Issei stabbed himself with the remains of rebellion, activating its power to fuse the powers of the Yamato and Sparta, as well as his dragon, human, and demonic sides. He absorbs the power of all three, giving him all the abilities of Sparta's twin sons, and a portion of his own power. It was also done to remove the seal on his powers, though it was a gamble on my part. Since it was only Syrax and I who could remove them. Kalina explained, earning nods from the leaders and everyone else. Who are you? Azazel asked. Kalina Haidu, Issei's mother. Kalina simply answered. You're his mother, Azazel said in shock. Yes, if it wasn't obvious with the white hair and red eyes we have. Kalina deadpanned. Could have sworn you're his sister. Azazel chuckled. Kalina rolled her eyes after Azazel's last remark. So, are those Issei's new chicks? She asked, pointing at the battle. Yes, his own rival being the newest piece, and the blondie over there is his new rook. Riaz answered. Kalina sighed. Why am I not surprised? At least they're all strong as hell. Kalina deadpanned. How did you get in here without us noticing you? Azazel asked. I can delete my presence entirely. It's as if I don't exist unless you physically see me. Kalina explained. You Spartans sure are an interesting bunch, though I remember vaguely that his two sons always took the battle face on. Azazel grabbed his chin. You can say that again. For now, let's watch the show. Kalina said and sat down on her side's handle while it magically floats. Say, Riaz, why don't you assist the Sparta peerage along with Sonas? Serena said as Serafel nodded in agreement. Are you sure? It looks like they've got it under control. Riaz asked with a raised eyebrow. They do, but wouldn't it be nice if you gave your peerage some experience in battle? Serena added. Alright, Sona, are you up for it? Riaz asked her best friend. Yeah, let's go. Sona answered as she and Riaz peerages stepped out to assist Issei and the others. Outside the barrier. Issei saw the two peerages come out of the barrier. Riaz. Sona. What are you guys doing out here? Issei asked while shooting a battalion of magicians with Kalina Ann and two. My sister wanted our peerages to assist you guys, and it's nice to earn some experience. Riaz answered. Alright, you guys take the other half of the field then, we'll take care of the side. Issei answered. You got it. Riaz answered as she and her peerage prepared for battle along with Sona and her peerage. The Gremory Peerage demonstrated their battle prowess through brute force and well-coordinated attacks, notably the combo of Gasper with Akeno and Rias, giving them a window to land powerful attacks with his time-stopping powers. Asia was in the backline providing healing magic for both Peerages, and the trio of Zenobia, Yudo, and Kaneko proved to be a deadly combo, as their speed and powerful blows allowed them to mow down a significant number of magicians from the front lines. Sona and her peerage displayed their expertise in tactics, making up for their lack of firepower. Tsubaki shined as her sacred gear Mirror Alice, and its ability to reflect damage onto the attacker gave the peerage opportunities to finish off weakened enemies. Saji assisted the battle via grappling onto stronger opponents and sapping them of their strength, but Sona using water magic to sweep the field when things got rough. Issei noted that despite the two heiresses being rivals, their peerages work well together. The two peerages completed their end of the battle as their two kings looked at them proudly. "Good job everyone, Gasper, great job back there, your control over your powers improved a lot." Rias smiled at the damper. "Thank you, Rias Butchu." Gasper stuttered as the other members smiled proudly at him. "Yes indeed, you guys did well back there." Sona had an uncharacteristic smile on her peerage. "Rias, Sona, how are things on your side?" Issei asked through a communication circle. "We're done here, how's yours?" Rias replied. "It'd be better, they just keep on coming to us." Issei answered. "Do you need help?" Sona now asked. "Nah, you two go back inside the barrier, things are only gonna get rough from here." Issei said as Rias and Sona complied along with their peerages. "How are you ladies holding up?" Issei asked his peerage while wiping out a bunch of magicians. "Easy enough. All good. Going well." Vali, Tiamat, and Lavinia answered. "Shall we wrap this up? I'm waiting for the big boys to come in." Issei casually said. "Sure." The trio answered in unison. Issei performed a firestorm vortex with an eye and Rudra, completely obliterating his side of the battle with a flame-imbued stinger, backed up by Rudra's wind. Vali fired a massive barrage of projectile attacks, Tiamat fired a chaos breath, and Lavinia froze all the ground units being finished off by Issei's attack, clearing the field of all the enemies. "That should do it," Issei said, dusting his shoulders. "It was suspiciously easy, the big one should come in by now," Tiamat remarked. "Yeah, at least they have to send someone or something that packs a punch," Vali confidently said. "Well, that was short-lived, oh and good job fighting back there Rias." Kalina spoke inside the barrier. "The two emperors are fighting together, Tiamat and a Longinus class sacred gear user, so that should be expected," Azazel said, rubbing his chin. Serena's eyes widened at the mention of Issei's peerage having another powerful sacred gear. "You mean that Issei Haidu's other rook has a Longinus class sacred gear?" Serena said in disbelief. "Yeah. Her sacred gear is called Absolute Demise, it summons a 3-meter-tall doll-like creature that obeys her will and has mastery over ice," Azazel explained. "So, Ice's peerage has 3 Longinus class sacred gears including him," Rias said. "Exactly, I say he's more than ready to compete in the rating games you devils hold, despite being a 4-man team," Azazel said. Issei and his peerage entered the barrier. "We're finished. Wait mom, what the hell are you doing here?" Issei asked in a shocked tone. Kalina jumped off her side and hit Issei on the head. "Can't I be a caring mother?" Kalina said in an irritated tone, amusing everyone in the barrier. "Whatever. So, are you itching for a fight again?" Issei asked. No, if something piques my interest, maybe I'll dance with them," Kalina answered. "Them?" Issei asked. "Over there." Kalina pointed in a direction where a large magic circle appeared. The large magic circle appeared in the middle of the field, and out from it appeared a humanoid beast 20 meters tall with horns and 4 red eyes on his head. Its stomach is covered in numerous yellow eyes, as well as a set of large jaws, capable of devouring objects with a furnace-like interior. "Oh look, it's Goliath, but it's a clone," Kalina said as she analyzed the creature. "Cloned?" Issei asked. "Back in the Cliffith incident, Nero and I fought the original Goliath, and a certain client of ours dealt the finishing blow to it. But who could make a clone of it and make it much stronger?" Kalina wondered. "How can you tell it's stronger than the original?" Issei asked. "It's bigger and I can feel that it packs more power than the original, but it looks like it's at a disadvantage. That belly of his can't do anything without fodder to burn," Kalina answered. "Wanna take a crack at it?" Issei asked. "You betcha." Kalina grabbed her side. Kalina and Issei walked out of the barrier preparing to battle the clone of Goliath. "Wanna make this quick?" Issei asked. "Yeah, I wanna show off for once." Kalina powered up. Kalina released all her hidden power, covering herself in a dark red aura. Her side, Mercy, grew in size and started emitting a miasma around its edge, reaching a level of power none of the 3 powers expected. "Holy. So this is Kalina Sen when she's serious," Ria said in the barrier. Yeah, you wouldn't expect this from someone who you can't even sense. Serena nodded in agreement. Unbelievable, so this is another of Sparta's kin. Serafol said in disbelief. Well, they are Sparta's, power is something they don't lack. Azazel added his 2 cents. Kalina and Issei faced off against the clone Goliath in their transformations, ready for a good brawl. Alright, let's go. Issei roared in excitement as Kalina masked her presence to strike when the time was right. Issei dashed in at incredible speeds, instantly closing the distance between him and his opponent. He started the fight with a barrage of slashes from Severance and its sword's formation, dealing a good amount of damage to it. Goliath countered with a swing of its giant arms, but missed Issei entirely. Kalina saw an opportunity to strike and took it by jumping in the air and slashing the creature across its back, lacerating it completely, and the miasma took effect by slowly decaying its surrounding area. How long does that last? Issei asked, coming down from a helm breaker. Long enough to give us room to finish it off. Kalina answered. Out of desperation, Goliath activated its stomach jaw and sucked up all sorts of materials that included the building the meeting was originally held in, and the school gymnasium all got smelted inside its furnace-like stomach. A few moments past it stopped and charged up power to fire its attack. The clone fired a boulder-sized burning ball of debris towards the 2 Spartas, both dodged it with ease, but Kalina got nicked on her thigh, showing a slight burn mark on it. TCH didn't expect that to graze me. Kalina scoffed. Better dodge, because here it comes again. Issei grabbed Kalina and jumped away from the attack. Issei and Kalina looked back and saw the amount of damage the clone could do. It made a massive crater despite the attack not looking that big. Yeah, he's definitely stronger than the original. Kalina deadpanned. Sure is, now we take care of it. Issei charged up with 5 boosts from Dreg. Alright, use that fancy shotgun of yours while I distracted, quite the role change, don't you think? Kalina asked amused. Yeah, let's finish things up. Issei summoned Divine Orion. Kalina dashed in and Issei split up from her, flanking the beast from behind. Issei aimed his shotgun and successfully hit his target, sapping the Goliath clone of its strength. The creature retaliated with another shot from its stomach jaw, firing it upwards. The shot went up the air and exploded after a few seconds, raining down a hail of burning debris, reinforced with its demonic magic. Welp, good thing they had a barrier up. Hey mom. Change of plans, I'm fighting this thing pound for pound. Issei yelled. Sure, I'll back off for now. Kalina answered and backed off from the action. Issei equipped Kalina and 2 and fired a barrage of missiles, following up with a laser beam, obliterating its left hand. The Goliath clone retaliated by shooting out balls of fiery debris in quick succession, destroying whatever it is that they hit. One of the projectiles hit Issei directly, causing him to be blown back across the field, hitting the school wall. Issei got up and channeled his draconic energy and transformed to his dragon form with the boosted gear and used size-altering magic to be a little taller than the Goliath clone. Alright ugly, let's see what you got. Issei said as he summoned Severance. Is that his dragon form? Looks cool as hell. Volley said in admiration. It's Issei dear, he's always gonna be flashy. Tiamat giggled. Looks like he uses Tannin's style of combat, befitting of him, otherwise, he'd use his jaws to wield that blade of his. Albion said amused. Issei dashed in with Severance in hand and his sword's formation at the ready. Issei opened the fight with a lunge that hit twice, knocking the beast back. He divided the strength of Goliath with Divine Orion and followed up with a flurry of attacks from an Eye and Rudra, leaving the beast ablaze from the intense flames the weapon had applied to it. The cut made by Kalina was seen taking effect, though Issei expected the wound to be cauterized. It continued rotting the surrounding flesh, further weakening the beast. The Goliath clone used its stomach jaw and began sucking up whatever it could find, but to its dismay, its vortex got nothing in. The 2 Spartas, seeing this, caught the opportunity to finish the fight. Do whatever it takes to kill that thing, I'll buy you time. Kalina said, jumping back in. Kalina dashed in and distracted the beast by poking it with her twin pistols and occasionally dashing in to stack the rotting effect the miasma had on the beast. Kalina saw her son finish his preparations for the attack and dashed away into the barrier. Issei reverted to his balance breaker, took a stance and reverse, gripped his sword as a Sparta magic circle appeared and glowed beneath his feet, and his sword's formation grew. Issei tricked in front of the beast midair and slashed away at the beast as his blade cut deep into the clone, critically injuring its entire body, with the sword's formation following up to further deepen the cuts. The onslaught ends with Issei momentarily pausing and focusing his energy on a massive area attack. Explosion. Dreg announced from the gauntlet as a blast of the released energy vaporized the Goliath clone. Issei reverted to his base form and went to Kalina and assessed her injuries. You alright? Issei asked. Yeah, a little rusty, that's all. Kalina chuckled. Well, better sharpen up if you plan to go back out in the field. Issei answered as they went back to everyone. What happened to the barrier? Issei asked. That last attack of yours shattered it. Azazel answered. I see, did anyone get hurt? Issei asked in a concerned tone. None, everyone's in top shape. Serena answered. Good, Azazel, do you know who we're up against here? Issei asked. Why is it always me? Azazel sighed. Well, you seem to have a network of information, so I'd assume that you have some knowledge of our guests here. Issei said. Yeah, I know the men is one of the reasons I collect sacred gears. Azazel said cryptically. The Chaos Brigade. Azazel dropped a bombshell on everyone present. What are their goals, dear brother? Michael asked in an urgent tone. Destruction, simple as that, they're not one for peace like us. They're outright terrorists, and it's led by the worst imaginable being there is. Azazel said. The office, the Ouroboros dragon. Azazel said, earning shocked looks from everyone. I see. So it has made its move, office, a dragon feared by all, even God. Serena said with a grim expression. Yes indeed, office is the leader of the Chaos Brigade. A mysterious voice said as a demonic magic circle appeared in the middle of the group. So, you're behind this? Serena said with a soured face. Oh man, didn't think I'd see her in this form. Azazel chuckled. Yes, this is the magic circle of the original Leviathan. Serena said as a feminine figure appeared out of the magic circle. The Terrier Leviathan. Serena snarled. The Terrier Leviathan is a tall, bespectacled woman with a curvy body. She had tanned skin, long brown hair tied in a bun, and purple eyes. Serena Lucifer, how do you do? Kateria said casually. What is the meaning of this, Kateria? Serena said, losing her temper. The members of the Old Satan faction have decided to cooperate with the Chaos Brigade, said Kateria. So it's a battle between the old and new, you devils sure are a handful. Azazel said, amused. Serena couldn't hide her shock at Kateria's declaration. Kateria, is it true, what you said just now? Serena asked in disbelief. Kateria had an arrogant look on her face. You heard me, Serena. She spoke. Once Serena had confirmation of it, she felt ashamed of herself. In her mind she failed as the leader of the devils and was saddened at the fact that she thought she could make peace with the other factions and the old Satan faction, but that thought was gone in her head after the Chaos Brigade's bold move. Why? Serena said in a somber tone. Simple, this world needs reformation, and we'll be in charge. Kateria said, smirking. Issei was intently listening on the conversation and decided that he'll take matters into his own hands. He masked his presence not to be detected by anyone and prepared to kill Kateria on sight. Has Office planned this far ahead? Azazel asked out of the blue. Kateria sighed at Azazel's question. Office gave us power strong enough to let us conquer the world. In exchange we have to help it with something else. Kateria answered. Do they hate peace that much? Serena gave Kateria a dangerous looking smile. Azazel chuckled at Kateria's last statement. So, it's a coalition of Rouge fallen, angels and devils, and you plan to rule over the world, with the Ouroboros dragon at the helm. Azazel said, piecing everything together. Why would you do such a thing, Kateria-chan? Seraphol spoke. Kateria snarled after hearing Seraphol's voice. The audacity, Seraphol, how can you be like this when you stole the position of being Leviathan from me? Me, a direct descendant of the original Leviathan, it should be in that position. Kateria bellowed. Seraphol only looked on the ground, in utter shame. Don't be worried, Seraphol. Today, I'm going to kill you here and claim the title of Mao Leviathan for myself. Office will then become the god of the new world. It's okay if it's only a symbol. We will build the system, laws, and religion. Serena, Michael, Azazel, and Seraphol, your era is over. Kateria said as the faces of the leaders darkened, except Azazel who couldn't care less. That should be enough. Issei spoke. Kateria said, but was immediately cut off. Bang. Issei's divine Orion was hurt as he shot Kateria straight on the midsection, leaving a clean hole through her body as her blood and gut splattered from the shot. Kateria fell on the floor, barely alive, and looked at the individual who shot her. Who are you? She weakly scowled. Issei quietly looked as he finished Kateria off for good with another shot from divine Orion. Everyone who witnessed the act was left shell-shocked at what Issei had done, especially Riaz and Sona, who had no idea that Issei could be that cold and ruthless. Kalina on the other hand expected this, she too wanted to kill Kateria the moment she appeared. Issei sighed, come on now, show's over, let's clean up now. Issei said. Alright. That's it. No one else is coming, other than these weaklings. You got it. Tiamat, Vali, and Lavinia answered their king. Issei and his peerage went out and finished off the remaining magicians, finally ending the attack on the conference. That should be all of them. Issei said as he landed. Good job, kiddo. Kalina playfully punched Issei's arm. Yeah, you too. Issei smiled. So, with all of that done, whatever shall we do about the conference? Azazel spoke, garnering the attention of the leaders. Peace, that is all we want, correct? Michael said. Yes, I agree to the three powers having peace. Seraphil answered. That settles it, I agree to peace between the factions. The fallen angels will no longer fight the angels and devils. Those who are upset with this may leave. However, the next time we meet, I will kill you without hesitation. Only those who follow me can come with me. Azazel spoke as the fallen angels with him cheered in joy and left the scene. Me too, with the Chaos Brigade's sudden move, I call for more than just peace, we need an alliance. Serena suggested. Now that's something I can get behind, to an alliance it is. Azazel said. I will also join in. Michael smiled at the idea. The leaders had Riaz bring them a contract that miraculously survived throughout the whole conflict and signed it, cementing the peace between the three factions, and was named the Kuo Treaty, an appropriate name for the occasion. Issei approached Michael with Irina beside the angel. Michael-sama, if I may, could you grant me a favor? Issei respectfully spoke. I don't have much time, but I'll make an exception, let's hear it. Michael nodded. Could you allow Asia and Zenobia to pray again? Issei asked. Very well, it will require some time before the system fully adjusts to foreign entities praying, but there's no harm in two devils praying. Michael smiled. Thank you, Michael-sama. Issei bowed. Michael was still amazed at Issei's humility. Farewell, Issei of Sparta. Michael vanished in a bright light. Issei looked at Azazel, who was holding an odd-looking object. Yo, Azazel, what do you have there? Issei asked. Oh, this is the creme de la creme of my research, the artificial sacred gear, Downfall Dragon Spear. Azazel proudly presented the item to Issei. The spear looked more like a dagger with a golden conical shape and a purple jewel at the end of its handle. Oh, so which dragon is in it? Issei asked. One of the Dragon Kings, Fafnir, I made a contract with him. Azazel proudly huffed. I see, is it like mine and Vali's? Issei added. Yes, it can give the user scale mail as the two emperors do, but albeit weaker. You know, I wanted to show this off, but you had to kill Kateria like that. Azazel deadpanned. Gotta take out the strongest before things go out of hand. Issei shrugged. I guess, you're right, anyways, I'll be going now. Azazel waved as he walked off. Issei looked at the devastated school, with soldiers from the different factions cleaning up the piled corpses of magicians, until he noticed his newly acquired queen all crunched up staring aimlessly. Hey, something on your mind? Issei approached and sat beside Vali. No, it's nothing. Vali answered. That's not the face of someone who has a clear mind, come on Vali, be honest with me. Issei said. Fine. I'm just worried about my team and how they'll see me after they find out that I'm in your peerage. Vali said on the verge of tears. Well, there's no going back about that, we can only see what happens next. Issei said. Vali looked at her king and grabbed Issei's face, kissing him again, leaving Issei confused on his queen's actions. What was that for? Issei asked in shock. I don't know, I want to fight you, but something tells me that I need to be with you. Vali shyly admitted. Those are your instincts kicking in, Vali, after all, you did give me part of your body. Albion spoke. Is that so? I want to hear something from Drake, since he knows more about this. Vali looked at Issei's left arm. Strange for Albion's host to ask, but yes, you are part dragon now, and you loudly proclaiming that you've submitted to my host was the final nail in the coffin. Now, you have urges that you'll either embrace or consume you. Drake said. I see. Vali said, feeling a little relieved. Suddenly, a dark-looking portal opened in front of the Dragon Emperor and Empress. Out of it came a young man, with short brown hair, brown eyes, and was dressed in ancient Chinese armor, accompanied by a red bow staff with gold ornaments on each of its ends. Bhikkhu? What brings you here? Vali asked. Have you forgotten, Vali? We were supposed to fight up north. Bhikkhu spoke. Forget that we're not going. Vali said. Why not? Is it because of that guy you're with? Bhikkhu said, pointing his staff at Issei. Why yes. Vali hesitantly answered. Let's see if he's got the stuff. Bhikkhu excitedly said as he jumped to say. Bhikkhu no. He's way beyond your league. Vali yelled, making Bhikkhu back out of the engagement. Bhikkhu gave Vali a confused yet disturbing look. To him, if Vali of all people didn't immediately fight someone, it probably means that they were stronger than she is, by a large amount. Alright, what do I tell the others? Bhikkhu said, recompassing himself. Meet me at the Grigori in a few days. Vali said as Bhikkhu nodded, disappearing into a newly opened portal. What was that about? Issei asked. Vali sighed. I'll get you to meet my team, it's only right that they know what's become of me. She spoke. Oh, and, can I live in your house? Vali asked. Not right now, God, you and Tiamat are so similar. Issei chuckled. Be sure to tell me, okay? Vali pecked Issei on the cheek and went away. Better ask Lucifer for that house renovation, partner. Drake said, amused at his host's predicament. Yeah, I know, speaking of which, there's Serena. Issei walked up to Serena. Serena noticed Issei approaching her. Oh, Issei-kun, good job on fighting back there. Serena smiled. Thank you, Lucifer-sama, can I ask you for something? Issei asked. Name it, you did hold the line for us, so this is your reward. Serena smiled. Can you get our house a renovation? You know, make it bigger, since my peerage wants to move in with me. Issei sighed. That's it. It'll be done before you know it. Serena giggled. Alright, thank you again, Lucifer-sama. Issei bowed. Rias is seen talking with Sona, overseeing her peerage repairing the school and the damage it accumulated. Need any help with the repairs? Rias offered. No, it's the student council's job to do this type of thing, thank you for the offer though. Sona smiled. Alright, but what do we do about Ice's queen? Rias asked. I say let it be, she did submit herself to Issei, and he hasn't marked anyone, so none of us can say anything. Sona answered. You're right, the more the merrier, I guess. Rias chuckled. Rias? Serena approached her sister. Wani-sama. Rias said. You live with Issei-kun, yes? Serena asked. I do, what about it? Rias asked, feeling a little nervous. I'm just letting you know that you'll have more residents in your home with him. Serena chuckled. Wani-sama, what do you mean? Rias asked in a panicked tone. Yufufufu, you'll see. Serena cryptically said as she teleported out with Grafia and Serafal. I've got a bad feeling about this. Rias nervously said. Tell me about it, both our sisters like to do this type of stuff. Sona rolled her eyes. But Issei. Issei approached Asia and Zenobia, who seemed livelier than usual. Oh, Issei-san. Asia said. Hey Asia, Zenobia. I have something to tell the two of you. Issei said. What might that be? Zenobia wondered. You two can pray again without taking damage. Issei said with a cheeky grin. How? We're devils, aren't we? Zenobia said. Yes, we are. I asked Michael-sama to allow the both of you to pray again, and he agreed, but it'll take some time for the system to adjust, or so he says. Issei explained. Asia ran up to Issei and hugged him. Thank you, Issei-san. Asia said. No problem at all, Issei patted Asia's head. Why did you do this? Zenobia asked. Well, I always see the two of you pray, and you know that doing that hurts you guys, and I don't like seeing you guys get hurt, so I had to ask for it. Issei smiled. That's very admirable of you, thank you. Zenobia sincerely said. That's it guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.